Recently, I posted something on my YouTube channel. It was Reverend Ike, and he and his congregation were affirming money. Someone made a comment, and they said, "Blasphemy. You're supposed to only worship God." And I'm hoping to dispel this evilness that we have associated with money. And we'll talk about the love of money being the root of all kind or all sorts of evil. Let's talk about this real quick. Money is God's ideal. If you go to the book of Genesis 2:12, he's talking about money being in the land, and he said of gold and precious stones and silver, God said it was good. We're also told, let not what God calls good be called evil. Now, what Paul did say was, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some have strayed away from the faith, and they've pierced themselves through with many types of sorrows and grief. This can be true. When we're talking about the word love, in Scripture, there's a number of types of love. There's phileo, being brotherly love. There's agape, being unconditional love. There's eros, being an erotic love. There's also this love called avarice. And avarice is a perverted type of love. And what do I mean? This type of love is what we call narcissistic. This is when we put self, money, or anything else above all else. And so we make our goal to make money at whatever cost. Paul says this type of love for money is the root of all kinds of evil, because this type of love of money will cause some to go astray and to find themselves pierced with many sorrows. When we're talking about loving money, we're talking about having a healthy respect for money. We have to understand what money is. Money is not the paper that it's printed on. It's not even the gold. Money is a medium of exchange between two or more spiritual beings. It used to be years ago, and I'm saying years ago, when we had cattle, we would have to take the cattle to the market, and then we would have to exchange that cattle for rice or whatever grains we needed, and that was the exchange. And somebody said, listen, let's simplify the process, and what we'll do is, instead of bringing the cattle, we'll bring money in place of the cattle. Money became the representation of cattle. It became the representation of life force. When somebody does a job, then we pay them in the currency of money, and then they use that money to pay their bills or whatever else they need to do with that money. But money in its truest sense is spiritual. It's a spiritual ideal. And it's spiritual because, like I said, it's an agreement. More than anything else, money is an agreement. It's an agreement between, like I said, two or more life force. What we've agreed to is, I will honor this thing you call money on the behalf of paying this bill. Or the work that I've done for you, you give me the money and I'll use that as representation so that I can buy something else due to the work or the expanse of energy that I provided on your behalf. And I want to talk about something briefly. In the 5 books, when Moses was taking the children of Israel through the wilderness experience, there was something that came down they called manna. The name for manna meant, what is it? When the people went to gather manna, some gathered little, some gathered much. Each person gathered according to their need. The person that gathered much, none of the manna withered. But the person that gathered little, none of the manna withered. The manna basically conformed to the need of the individual. Money is much like manna. If you have a mindset that says that I can only obtain a little bit of money, then for you, that's going to be the case, whereas someone else says, well, I can obtain more money because I like to have nice things. Whatever. We're not judging the use of money. Be it unto you according to your faith. So if you believe that you can get by on a little bit of money, then be it unto you according to your faith. If you believe that more money serves you, then be it unto you according to your faith. Money itself is nothing more than a tool. And I have several scriptures, but I'm not going to go through all those scriptures because, of course, it would take so much time. But I talked about money, gold, silver, precious stones in the book of Genesis 2. But God says this, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Again, part of what we call prosperity is, of course, a loving relationship, better health, but also having our finances also taken care of. Jesus said it this way, "I have come that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly." He also says in another point, "Make friends for yourself with mammon of unrighteousness," or money, "that when it fails, when it's no longer useful." When is money no longer useful? When we make the transition from this life to the next life. We can't take money with us. He says, when it fails, you'll be received into eternal dwellings. He says, so make friends with money. We talked about this briefly. We said, well, Paul told Timothy, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds or all sorts of evil." Not all evil. Some people have pursued it, money, and have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many types of griefs or sorrows. Paul saw both sides of money. Paul was a tent builder, so of course he knew that it took money to pay his bills and so forth. And he also told the church often, do your giving before I get there so that we don't have to worry about that. So we know that money was a useful tool. When did money really become evil, as it were? Well, money became really evil, or all evil, in the early church. Why did money become evil? If we can make money evil, then of course people will give all their money to the church. And that was the ploy. If the church leaders could make money evil, the goal was separating the parishioners from their money. That's just the simple truth. So of course, if we can keep money evil, then of course nobody wants to deal with evil money. 2,000 years later, we're still occupied from the mindset of money being evil. Never did Paul say that money was evil. He says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So money itself could lead to evil, as a gun, a hammer. A pool of water could be used to drown someone or bathe someone. Anything that we have can be used for good or evil depending upon the person utilizing that tool. Creators, as long as you keep money as being evil, you're going to find it very difficult to attract money to you. You're going to always find money in short demand. You're never going to get paid enough. It's going to always be outside your grasp. When you change your perspective and understand that money is nothing more than a tool created by God, God said if He didn't do it, it wasn't done. So everything that we see in life, God created it through the human race. When we understand that money is simply a tool to be used, and we begin utilizing that tool to its fullest benefit, then we will become those who God seeks to prosper. The ones that He says, I know the plans that I have for you. The ones that Jesus says, I come that you have life and that you may have it more abundantly. When you understand that money in itself isn't evil, it's the person who's using the tool of money for good, bad, or indifferent that makes it so. If you find yourself abundant, then use money as a vehicle of love and upbuilding, and don't use it as a tool for evil. We're all given to do the choice of either. So it's given to you to make the final choice of what you will do with this tool called money. But remember, Money in its truest sense is the exchange of energy. So when we say that money's evil, we're really saying that we're evil because money is the representation of energy or life force that you've expended, and somebody says, I will compensate you with this tool called money, and we use this tool of money as a medium of exchange, but it's neither good, bad, or indifferent. It's neutral. It's how we employ money for good, bad, or indifferent that makes it so. But remember this, creators. Only you can create your perfect world. Not God or man. Only you can create your perfect world. This is Coach DeCarlo saying have a great and abundant day.